Giyu always wears a stoic and unbothered expression on his face. However, he has a reserved personality and a very strong sense of justice with no tolerance towards those who don't know their own limitations and throw away their lives. Despite letting Nezuko Kamado live due to Tanjiro Kamado's persistence, he shows zero hesitation when killing other demons and has no respect or mercy towards them like most demon slayers. Even so, Giyu violated the Demon Slayer Corps' code of conduct without hesitation to protect Nezuko during Shinobu's attempt to kill her. This implies that he doesn't completely despise demons as some other Hashira do, and that he's willing to make an exception for a demon by letting them live if they don't kill and eat humans. This shows that he's more pragmatic in dealing with demons rather than letting his hatred cloud his judgment. Giyu grew up alongside his older sister, Tsutako Tomioka. When he was still a child, his sister sacrificed her life to protect Giyu from demons. After the death of his older sister, Giyu tried to convince everyone that she was slaughtered by a demon, but no one believed him, and he was labeled mentally ill. Later, he apprenticed under Sakonji Urokodaki. At the age of 13 years, Giyu met Sabito under the training of Sakonji, where they both entered the final selection on Fujikasane Mountain. Giyu was attacked by demons soon after the selection, but was saved by Sabito. Final Selection Arc. After Tanjiro was still coping with the attack of demon-turned-sister Nezuko, Giyu attacks from behind. In response, Tanjiro moves Nezuko out of the way. The swordsman asks Tanjiro why he's protecting a demon, and gets to know that the demon is actually Tanjiro's sister, and hasn't eaten any human. However, in the blink of an eye, Giyu removes Nezuko out of her brother's grip. When Tanjiro again calls out to his sister in alarm, Giyu tells Tanjiro not to move, and informs him that it's his job to kill demons. As Tanjiro keeps begging for the life of his sister, Giyu explains that there's no way to cure a demon, to which Tanjiro again begs that there must be a way. Giyu grows angry at his actions, and states that he's too weak to protect his family, and all this idea of Akiri's thinking about is ridiculous. He then stabs Nezuko in the chest, causing Tanjiro to throw a stone at him in fury. Giyu blocks the stone, but then gets attacked by an axe, a quick trick by Tanjiro. The distracted Hashira is then knocked out by Nezuko. Giyu suddenly gets a glimpse that Nezuko is about to devour her brother's flesh, but to his surprise, Nezuko stands protectively in front of her brother. Giyu then remembers that Tanjiro had claimed that Nezuko would not eat any human, so he sheathed his sword. The swordsman then instructs them to meet Sakonji Urokodaki. Natagumo Mountain Arc. After receiving news of the many Mizunoto-ranked demon slayers perishing on Natagumo Mountain, Kagaya Ubuyashiki orders Hashira Giyu and Shinobu Kocho, the insect Hashira, to assist the lower-ranked swordsmen. Upon reaching the mountain, Giyu saves Inosuke from the father spider demon by cutting off its arm and easily beheading the demon. Giyu then interferes between the fight of Tanjiro and the lower rank 5, Rui, saving the former from Rui's blood demon art, Murderous Eye Basket. Rui becomes annoyed with the presence of the demon slayer and uses his blood demon art on the Hashira. Giyu nullifies the attack, cutting apart all of the threads. While Rui still remains in shock, Giyu easily beheads him. The very next moment, Giyu sees Nezuko beside Tanjiro and remembers that they're the same siblings who he met 2 years ago. Suddenly, Shinobu appears and tries to attack Nezuko. Giyu deflects her attack and asks Tanjiro to run as fast as he can with his sister. Shinobu tells him that he's going against the Demon Slayer Code of Conduct, but Giyu doesn't budge at all. Rehabilitation Training Arc. Giyu is later seen in the Hashira meeting at the residence of Kagaya Ubuyashiki, where Tanjiro and his sister are on trial. There, when Sanemi torments Nezuko, Tanjiro goes on to attack Sanemi, and Giyu shouts that the master would be here soon and that they should stop. Nichika Ubuyashiki is requested by her father to read former Hashira Sakonji Urokodaki's letter, where it's stated that Tanjiro, Sakonji, and Giyu will all commit seppuku if Nezuko were to attack and or eat a human. Tanjiro, after hearing Sakonji and Giyu's sacrifice to keep his sibling alive, breaks into tears. Hashira Training Arc. After some incidents happen at the Swordsmith village, an emergency meeting is called at the Ubuyashiki residence, where Amane announces a special training for all the Hashira who have awakened their Demon Slayer marks. Upon this announcement, Giyu takes his leave, much to the annoyance of Sanemi and Obanai. As his reason for leaving, Giyu explains that he's different from all the other Hashira. After Tanjiro finishes healing, He's asked by Kaguya to persuade Giyu to start training with all the other Hashira. Tanjiro visits Giyu and bombards him with a lot of questions about why he refused the training. Upon further investigation, Giyu states that he should have stuck to water breathing and become the water Hashira, as he himself is not worthy of holding the position. Tanjiro continuously asks what he meant by this line, which leads Giyu to break silence after all. He explains to Tanjiro that he actually never passed the final selection. It was his friend Sabito who deserved the rank. It was him who killed all the demons but lost his life to an unfortunate death, and Giyu who became Hashira without even killing a single demon. Tanjiro's response related this whole story to his experience with Rengoku. In both cases, they survived at the expense of a stronger person's death. Thinking about this, Tanjiro asks Giyu if Sabito's expectations for Giyu living a fulfilled life were what held them together. These words deeply impacted Giyu as he gets ready for the training and apologizes for his stubbornness. Infinity Castle Arc. Following the death of Oyakata, Giyu is with the other Hashira attacking Muzan. He eventually enters Nakime's Infinity Castle alongside Tanjiro. The two are then instantly knocked down by Akaza's blow, but Giyu returns in anger and finally manifests his mark while fighting Akaza to reach his highest speed. However, Akaza matches Giyu's speed and gains the upper hand after breaking Giyu's blade by a punch. Giyu and Tanjiro engage in a long fight with Akaza, in which Giyu is overwhelmed. As Akaza prepares his final move, his hand is cut by Tanjiro. Giyu again engages Akaza in a fight, but is eventually defeated by Akaza's final form, Blue-Silver Chaotic Afterglow, breaking through Giyu's 11th form, Dead Calm. However, after that, Giyu watches Tanjiro behead Akaza. Shortly after Akaza is beheaded, his body continues to attack Tanjiro, but Giyu stands by Tanjiro's side and vows to protect him till the end, as he takes all of the damage from Akaza's moves. After Akaza's death by committing suicide, Giyu falls unconscious from the fatigue alongside Tanjiro. Sunrise Countdown Arc. After the Infinity Castle is destroyed, Muzan, along with his new appearance, massacres all of the demon slayers surrounding his capsule and also the crow which Kiriya was using. Kiriya orders again that all Hashira and a reinforcement team of demon slayers reach Muzan's location. Nakame quickly teleports Muzan using her blood demon art to the location of Giyu and Tanjiro. Tanjiro, after seeing Muzan, becomes enraged, while Giyu asks him to calm down. As Muzan compares himself with a natural calamity, Tanjiro and Giyu remember that the only way to take Muzan down is to bring him out of the Infinity Castle, into the sunlight, because he can't die from decapitation. Muzan then instantly transforms his arms into long, spiked tendrils that function like whips and flails them at both Tanjiro and Giyu. Giyu uses water breathing in order to repel the flailing tendrils, but gets cut in many places in his body along with Tanjiro. Tanjiro tries again and again against Muzan's tendrils, but Giyu grabs hold of him and tells him that it's no use as the strength of Muzan is unmatched. However, all of the Hashira then come to back Tanjiro up, and Obanai slashes Muzan's neck with his Nichirin sword. Mitsuri gets confused that it's not being cut, but Giyu knows that Muzan is being cut but regenerates instantly. Just as the Hashira were about to be mauled by Muzan, dozens of demon slayers come forward, sacrificing themselves to save the Hashira. Giyu becomes extremely disturbed when Muzan explains that those who are infused with his blood don't turn to demons. Rather, their cells will ultimately decay and result in death. As Giyu attempts to cut off one of Muzan's arms, he accidentally launches his broken blade out of his hands, showing that his grip is waning as a result of the poison from Muzan's attack. Before one of Muzan's tendrils can slash and kill Giyu, both Obanai and Guillaume intervene and stop the tendril, much to Giyu's surprise. Sanemi throws the Nichirin sword to Giyu, and he unleashes his water breathing at the Demon King. When Muzan thinks that in less than 5 minutes, all of the Hashira would die with his blood infusion, Chachamaru enters with the blood of vials and injects the Hashiras with the antidote to the blood poison of Muzan. Suddenly, Muzan flails his tendrils and arm tentacles even crazier than before. As a result, Guillaume crashed into the building he was hiding behind, with his left leg knee down completely demolished. Sanemi was launched nearly on top of a nearby building. Giyu crashed onto the bottom of another with his right arm cut off. Obanai and Zenitsu were thrown into another building, and Inosuke collapsed onto the ground with one of his Nichirin swords broken. After almost all the Hashira were knocked down, Tanjiro gets revived and approaches Muzan for the last battle. Tanjiro and Iguro continue using their breathing style techniques to pressure Muzan, and due to the aging drug, Muzan is getting weak. When there's only 25 minutes remaining until dawn, Inosuke intercepts, and the three engage Muzan to hold the time. As dawn arrives, the very moment Muzan sees the sun, horror runs through his body, and he unleashes his shockwave technique. Tanjiro holds his blade as hard as he can, and says Kyojiro's words yet again, "Set your heart ablaze." Miraculously, Giyu comes to Tanjiro's aid, and with his other remaining arm, grabs hold of Tanjiro's Nichiren sword as well. With the might of both Demon Slayers, the blade successfully becomes bright red. However, as Tanjiro is about to land his final attack, Muzan expands his body and looks for shade. Giyu comes back into the fight and uses his water-breathing 10th form on the demonic infant, but doesn't do nearly as much damage as the others due to him only having one arm left. The infant regurgitates a lot of blood from its mouth, stopping it from digging any deeper into the ground. Being unable to escape the sun in any way, the demonic infant screams and bawls as it continues to disintegrate. Thus, Lord Muzan himself is finally dead. In spite of the destruction of Muzan's physical body, his consciousness remains inside Tanjiro, which eventually turns him into a demon himself. Muzan's plan was to make Tanjiro the Demon King who can conquer the sun. As Muzan predicted, Tanjiro shows resistance to sunlight when he faces off against Giyu. He goes on to attack Inosuke, who managed to save Giyu. Nezuko keeps begging Tanjiro not to lose himself to Muzan, but Tanjiro keeps mindlessly attacking the Demon Slayer Corps, swinging one of his bone appendages towards Zenitsu. Giyu saves Zenitsu and a few Kakushi using his water-breathing techniques. After Kano uses her last bit of strength to inject Tanjiro with the humanification medicine, the battle stops and Tanjiro becomes human once again. We then see Muzan fade from Tanjiro's subconscious, finally defeated for good. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.